Jen, welcome to the Beyond the Tools podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Me too. I was really excited to do this because there are certainly not many agencies in the space that are focused on social media and female run. So I think it's really exciting that we get to have this chat today.
Yeah, for sure. I agree on all of that.
Awesome. So I love your origin story and how you got started. And I think I can definitely relate there. And I'm sure a lot of people can. So you didn't start in the trades. How did you end up in this industry?
Yeah. So I accidentally found it. I was doing social media for some small businesses and got referred to a plumber. It's a husband and wife owned company. And so the wife reached out to me and said that she wanted to be on all the platforms. She wanted to be on TikTok. And at the time, it was 2021. And I had been looking at TikTok as an option for the small businesses that I was working with, but I hadn't actually put anybody on there. So she was the first client that I was able to put on TikTok. We got a lot of great results. Had some videos go really viral, got a lot of attention for it. People started asking who was doing her social media. So she was able to refer me to some other awesome plumbing and HVAC leaders. And then in 2023, I decided to move my focus totally to the home services industry. And that's how we got to where we are now.
Incredible. And I feel like you've really blown up in that time. I hear nothing but good things about Keyheart
Thank
marketing.
you.
So
Yeah,
congrats.
we love it. I feel very lucky to be a part of this industry for sure.
Amazing. So I guess I'm curious because working with contractors, I'm curious what you find is the most common misconceptions that you get about social media from this industry.
I think there's a couple. One of them is that Facebook ads don't work, and they absolutely can work. It's not a like set and forget lead generation source. And so I think that a lot of people don't understand the timeline and what goes into making them work. But once they do, it's a really, really great place, especially when there's not a lot of demand. So right now, temperatures are mild and there isn't a lot of demand in HVAC. So having an offer that is up all the time and getting into people's like view all the time is going to be much more beneficial than just waiting for somebody to come upon you on Google because they're searching for a solution. I think that's a really big misconception, that Facebook ads can't work, because we see them work and bring in a ton of money for our clients.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I hear that all the time. And I think contractors often, Google is such an important part of their world that often social media is kind of pretty low on the priority list and seen as like just something to do for fun and not realizing it's something that can dramatically impact their business.
Well, and like for me, my business has exploded because of our social media presence, which can be the same for any business owner. But it takes putting out content that people actually care about. It's not like a set it and forget it thing. It's really more of a constantly evolving collaboration. But it's also doesn't have to be that hard. It's a lot of like just documenting and sharing, and just so that you can stay top of mind, so that people always know who you are and what you do. But having content that's actually showing up in the newsfeed, it's monumental, and it can help set you apart from everybody else in your market.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it'd be great to dig into that a little bit because I'm sure a lot of people listening are thinking, okay, am I going to have to do these silly videos? Am I going to have to dance or, do these memes and jokes? What's the reality of content that actually performs in this space?
Yeah. So we use the 3S framework, which is a framework that I created based on the data of what works on social media. So the 3S framework is the show up, stand out, scale. And it is not just what content you should be putting out there, but how much of the content that you should be putting out. So when you think about social media is free for us to use, right? But they're making a ton of money. Where's this money coming from? It's coming from ads. And these ads depend on people's eyeballs on their content. So the platforms depend on people seeing the ads so that the advertisers will pay money for people to see their content. So your organic content, your not paid content, needs to be something that people are interested in so that they want to see it, so that they're engaging with it, so that you're telling Facebook or TikTok or Instagram that this is good content. If you're putting stuff out there that people are not engaging with, they're not clicking on, they're not commenting on, they're not liking, your content isn't going to be in the newsfeed, and therefore it's not helpful for you. It's only a place that when people search you, they'll find stuff that you've been posting. So that's the problem with it, letting a marketing company or a VA just post random stock photos and things that people don't actually care about. When you start collecting a ton of content on your Facebook page that nobody has seen or touched or liked or anything, you've essentially told the platforms that your content isn't valuable, and so people will not see it at that point. The 3S framework: show up, stand out, scale. 50% of your content is show up content, and that is content that is things that is very similar to what we already engage with on social. So it is celebrating birthdays and anniversaries. It is sharing behind the scenes moments, photo dumps of meetings, of day in the life, of trainings, of what you're doing in the community, of what you're doing on a job site. If you think about what we engage with and what we see, it's documenting of other people's lives. That's what we like to see. We like to cheer them on. We like to know what they're up to. Um, eh, we like to know what books they're reading, what they're eating for lunch, what is interesting to them, what they bought, like what things are benefiting them. That's the type of content that you want to put out as a business as well. And then with that can be some of those trending videos that are fun on TikTok, but it doesn't have to be. But that's relatable. Typically, that's why people like them, because they're relatable, they're funny, they show personality, they show culture. And it's the kind of stuff that is going to get people's attention. So none of it is really about HVAC or plumbing or electrical, but more so about who you are as a company, who you are as a culture, what types of things that you like. And when you're thinking, okay, so people don't care about what I eat. Well, if you're in the local community and you're going to a local restaurant and you're able to not only promote and tag that restaurant, but also share something that really positions you in the community, that's a great piece of content. And that's exactly what people like and want to see about. So no, you don't have to create an entire series around like the best date spots in your city, but why not put that content out there too? So like I said, 50% of your content is this show up content. The other 50% makes up the standout and scale content. So 30% of it is standout content. That's your educational stuff. That's what positions you as a thought leader. When you get to go on that news segment and share about upcoming weather things and what people need to do to protect their home, that positions you as a thought leader. That should be in your standout content. But also just like quick educational things for homeowners. This does really well as video, much better than it does as like a stock photo with like or a blog post or something. And then the last one is your scale content. So you should have your services on your social media. You should have testimonials about what people's experiences working with you. You should have storytelling of why people called you and what you ended up doing to help solve their problem. So that's about 20% of your content. So if you can get that 50%, and that's where so many businesses miss out, is like that good stuff that people care about. Then when you post that other stuff, like the scale content that probably most of your social media content is made up of right now, people will actually start to see it.
That makes total sense. And it seems like something that's really achievable and an easy framework to follow.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, when you start working with a client, obviously in a perfect world, they have all kinds of photos and all sorts of things to work with. But how do you start to, if somebody's listening to this they're not really documenting. How do you start to build that habit and build up that bank of content?
Yeah. It takes being really intentional about your time. So you have to put that in your calendar. You maybe need to set a reminder. You're already doing the things. The moments are already there. So it's just remembering to document them. So there's a lot of other things too. You could, if you're working with us, we work really collaboratively with our clients. So we send weekly reminders. We check in whenever we know things are coming up, just to remind as well. Um, you could also bring in a photographer and videographer on a monthly basis or quarterly basis to get some of this content for you. We arrange that with our clients as well, to have a videographer come in on a quarterly basis to get all of the content that we need, so that it isn't something that's hanging over their head. You can also incentivize your team. We have a lot of clients that do this. Either they put them like on teams together, and then reward them based on different things, or you could just do it on a one-to-one basis. You can reward them monetarily. You can reward them with recognition. Like, it really just depends on what works for your team, but we've seen that work as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, especially contests is something that the team can rally around and have a bit of fun then, rather than, oh, this
Yeah.
is just some other thing that my boss wants me to do.
Right. Yeah. You got to incentivize people. I mean, same with Facebook ads. Like, when Facebook ads, I know we already talked about that, but if you're getting leads in and you're not booking them, try incentivizing your team to book these leads. If
Yeah.
you're going to the home and they're not, it's like sales too, like you're going to the home and the tickets are low, incentivize your team for having higher tickets, for bringing in more sales.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you mentioned there about video, and video is something that a lot of people are pretty intimidated about being in front of a camera. So,
Yeah.
how do you help the leaders that you work with show up authentically, get comfortable on camera when it's something that doesn't really feel like them?
I think that most people are uncomfortable when they get on camera, and it's just like knowing that. I mean, it's like the first time that you heard your voice on a recorder or on your message machine and you were like, who is that? That I like, what? That's not what I sound like. It's very similar to that. So it's like, are you willing to do something uncomfortable in order to push your business forward? I think is a good question to ask yourself. And it and I'm somebody who's willing to do something that's uncomfortable, because I know that that's where growth is right outside of your comfort zone. Um, if it's like, I'm not interested in doing that at all, then is there somebody on your team that is, and could they be compensated to be that person who is going to represent your brand? The bottom line is that when they're wearing your uniforms and they're standing in front of your trucks, it isn't always about the person. Sometimes it's just about the brand. And we've seen that. We have a client, he's never done a video for us. He has some guys on his team that create some great videos for us, but he was at the gas station and someone's like, I always see you on TikTok. And they don't see him, they see the brand on TikTok. But it's still, and we have another client, same thing. Like, when they go into the home, people are like, oh, we see you guys all over YouTube, we see you on TikTok. And it's not necessarily that person, but they feel so much more comfortable because they recognize the brand. They know that these are people that get out there and get on there, and so it doesn't have to be you. It's great if you can start to make it you, and maybe it's doing podcast interviews first, and maybe it's just about who you record with. There's a lot of videographers that I've worked with that make recording very comfortable. They're interviewing you, or responding to what you're saying, and that makes it a lot easier. But nobody just like wakes up feeling like the best. Mr. Beast didn't either. Gary Vee didn't either. Like, none of these people started off with the best videos feeling the most comfortable in them. It's like anything else. Like, you get better the more that you practice it and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell clients it's like a muscle, and you get
Yeah.
used to it, and eventually it's not this big ordeal, but yeah, I mean, it takes
Right.
time.
For sure.
And yeah, Jen, I think you made a good point there as well in terms of getting feedback from people. I know that for a lot of us, once we start to see that, oh, doing this video, putting out this content. Now I'm getting more phone calls. Now people are recognizing me. Once you get that positive feedback going, that can really help to make it a lot easier to keep getting in front of the camera.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, the muscle, this isn't something that you're going to do one time and everybody's going to notice. Like, you don't go to the gym and lift weights one time and lose 20 pounds. It's something like you've started making better eating choices and you've started consistently going to the gym. And after, a month, you're going to feel differently. And after 3 months, people close to you are going to start to notice something. And after 6 months, you're not even going to recognize the person that you were before. It's very similar with social media. It's not just like posting one time or even posting for 1 month. It's posting consistently for 6 months, for a year. And once you get to that point, then it's like there's a lot of momentum and there's a lot of buildup, and there are people paying attention. But as you're getting up there, it might not feel like much has changed.
Yeah, that's a valid point. And I'm curious, I guess, with a lot of your clients, how are you typically showing the value of social media? I know that's something that a lot of contractors are like, how do I know that this is actually gonna get me an ROI? How do you go about looking at what social media is actually doing for them?
Yeah. I mean, it's a big part of your marketing ecosystem, and there are all different ways that clients enter our marketing ecosystem. Customers find us in all these different places, but most people aren't ready to buy. They don't need to buy, and they're not going to buy just the first time that they heard about you. So getting them into your system, into your so that you're visible to them, so that they trust you. When we were buying an HVAC system, we reached out specifically to a company that we trusted, and we trusted them because we had seen them in their marketing for the last 10 or 15 years. This wasn't just like we went to Google and searched the first person. When you're making a $45,000 investment, you want to go with somebody that you trust. And so when you start to have this consistent content, you're showing up in front of them consistently. It's an entire you're sending them emails. They're following you on Facebook. They see your ads on Facebook. You're sending them mailers. You're out in the community and they see your branding there. They see your billboards. They see your trucks around town. All of those things that are not super quantifiable, and yet they all impact the decisions that consumers make before they decide to buy. So there are some times where you can measure a direct return on social media efforts. A lot of times that's when you're running lead generation ads, or if someone just tells you that they saw you on Facebook or TikTok. And there's a lot of times that there isn't a quantifiable number, but instead it's a part of the bigger umbrella of why somebody has remembered you and decided to work with you.
Yeah, yeah, and I appreciate that honesty too, because you're absolutely right. Not everything is okay. I do 5 posts and I get $5 back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's really a long-term strategy, and it's supported by everything else that you're doing in your marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, the difference between I know that my business would not be anywhere close to where it was without social media. So it's where you continue to build relationships with people.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, here.
Yeah.
So, for any contractors listening that are busy, they're skeptical, not sure about whether they can really commit to social media, what's the simplest way for them to start using social media as part of their marketing plan and really not just see it as some other thing on their to-do list?
Facebook groups are a great place to start. It, Providing value in Facebook groups, maybe even from your personal brand. But when there is something, and you can do this on your business page too, on your personal page. But right now it's winter time. Anytime that there's like a major freeze coming up, but for both HVAC and plumbing and electrical, there's probably some things that you could tell your homeowners in your community to be sure and look out for, or to prepare for, to prevent having to call them in the future. But just leading with that value is a really, really great place to start. So anytime you've got something like that coming up, another one would be just when you're doing something that is maybe a little bit out of the ordinary, but kind of fun. So if you're having an internal party, internal planning session, if you're doing something in the community, maybe you're sponsoring the local basketball team or you're bringing something to the local teachers or something like that, documenting that, taking pictures and posting that. Those are both two things that are going to get a lot of traction and perform well on social, and maybe you're not doing it consistently yet, but I would definitely start there.
Excellent. I think those are very achievable ideas. So, Jen, I want to switch gears a little bit because you are running your first ever event in March. And I know you've been speaking at conferences, going to all kinds of events. What inspired you to actually do your own event?
Yeah, so the Growth Experience conference is coming to San Antonio March 30th through April 1st. We're super excited. It's all around profits, people, and presence. And one of the things was I just wanted people to come to San Antonio. I love San Antonio. That's where I live. And so I thought it would be like, if you want people to come, just invite them. So I decided to have an event. The other thing is, I think that community is so important as we're growing our business. I think being around other people who are that appreciate that growth mindset, that appreciate putting themselves out of their comfort zone, learning new things, being exposed to new ideas, and really like having conversations with people around them. And so we wanted to create an event like that. It's not just marketing, even though we are a social media company, but the growth experience is about more than that. It's about getting your financials in line, getting your profits bigger. We actually, by the time that this episode releases, we'll have released our keynote. So I can say it here, but Mike McCowitz, the author of Profit First, is going to be our keynote, and so I think that's really going to be incredible. I'm so excited to have him. We also have people coming to speak about internal culture and operations. And then, of course, as a marketing company, we're going to be talking about marketing and about AI and just some really forward thinking things. And it's intimate. It's not like this big breakout type situation. We're all in the same room. We're all learning together throughout the entire experience. And so I'm really excited about it.
That sounds like an amazing event and great keynote speaker. That's
Thanks.
that's
Yeah.
gonna be so great.
I'm excited. It's going to be good.
So for our listeners who are definitely going to want to learn more about you, what's the best way for them to connect with you further?
You can find me on all the social media platforms. My name is Jen McKee. All of the Key Heart Marketing stuff is under Key Heart Marketing on all the platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and that's KEEHART. And then to find out more about the conference, you can go to thegrowth-experience.com. And that's where tickets are and more about it.
Perfect. And we'll put all of that in our show notes as well. So you can check that out on our website for all the links over to Jen, the Growth Experience, and Key Heart Marketing. Jen, thank you so much for being on the show. I really enjoyed our conversation today, and I think there are so many great nuggets there for contractors to take away and implement in their business.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Amazing.